So, you know how in EmulationStation for the Retropie you can reorder all your systems. You can reorder them any way you like. So, for example, initially I had Retropie configuration. When my Retropie started up, it would start up displaying the Retropie configuration. And then I had, my things grouped the way I wanted them. So I had arcade, I had all my Ataris together, all my Nintendo systems were together in order, Sega Genesis and Sega Master System, all the Sega stuff was all in order, and so on and so forth. So that's great, that's wonderful. I was happy that I was able to rearrange my systems. Now, when it comes to collections, apparently you cannot rearrange them the way you want. So that was kind of a bummer. I was looking around online trying to see if there was a way to rearrange your collections, and no, everybody's saying no, you can't do it. And they're right, you can't rearrange your systems the way you want, or your collections the way you want. So I set out to figure out a way to rearrange my collections. So I came up with a I came up with a way to do it, half-assed way to do it, and I don't know if that's the right way, but it totally works, and I'm totally happy with it. If you're a person with a lot of collections, you might not want to go this route because it does involve editing a few files, and it could take a lot of time if you have a lot of collections. But for me personally, I only needed to do this with one collection, so it wasn't that bad. And my whole reason for wanting to do this at all was because I just put together one of those miniature arcade machines, and I have it all Mortal Kombat themed, with the Mortal Kombat side art. I got the Mortal Kombat marquee at the top, and all that stuff. So when my Retropie starts up, I wanted it to start up on my Mortal Kombat collection. So that was the whole reason why I wanted to do this. So anyways, I'm going to try to explain what the fuck I did, and show you here what I did. I'm not the greatest at giving tutorials, so fuck, I just stepped on my Pi and shut it off. It's booting back up, no big deal. Anyways, this is good because you'll get to see that when it boots up, it's going to boot up on my Mortal Kombat collection. So anyways, I'm gonna go through quickly the basic steps that I took to do this, and so just bear with me, and don't yell at me for giving crappy tutorials, because basically I'm doing this mainly for myself, because it took me a while to go through all these files and figure out what files did what, and blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. So if I ever have to do this again, I'll never fucking remember what the hell I did. So I could always refer to this video just to bring the memories back, you know what I mean? Anyways, so first things first, gonna connect to your Retropie here. I connected through my network, so you just type in / Retropie, and it should connect. And you're gonna go into your ROMs folder, and I created a folder called Mortal Kombat, and in that folder I put in all the Mortal Kombat ROMs that I wanted to add to my collection. So for example, I have Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 for the arcade, and then I have Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 for the Genesis, and Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 for the Super Nintendo. Then I created a folder called Images, and I put in images, you know, all the box art and stuff like that for all the ROMs. So after I did that, then I headed on over to my FTP here, and I connected to my Raspberry Pi, Retropie, via FTP. And what you want to do is edit the ES systems config file, which the one I edited was in OPT, Retropie, configs, all, EmulationStation, and we want ES systems config. Now, I prefer editing and saving files through FTP because it's just way easier than using PuTTY. But sometimes read and write privileges in some of these directories are iffy, so you might not get you might not be able to edit a file. It might, you know, yell at you and tell you access denied or something. I don't remember if that happened to me here, but if it does, then you're going to have to connect through PuTTY and just run this command: sudo chmod 0777-rv opt retropie configs, and that should give read and write access to the ES systems config file. I don't remember if I had to do that or not. I know I had to do it like when I was playing with themes in the etc directory, and I know I had to do it for that, but I don't remember if I had to do it for this or not. But yeah, if you have to, that's how to do it. Anyway, so we're gonna edit ES systems config. Alright, so I'm going to open that up here. So what I did is I added a custom system. So all I did was I copied the MAME libretto and I pasted it up here. I put it at the top because the top system is the one that's going to be loaded up when you start up your Retropie. So after I pasted that in there, I edited the lines. So for the name, Mortal Kombat. Full name, I put Mortal Space Combat. For the path, I put Home Pi, Retropie, ROMs, Mortal Kombat. And this is the directory where your ROMs are going to be located. So it's basically this directory right here. Next is the extensions. You can put any extensions in here you want. Personally, I only needed .zip, but let's say for example you wanted to have Atari ROMs in there as well. You know, you could copy some of these extensions. Excuse me. Paste them in here. You can put whatever you need. Next is the command. So for the command, I kept it the same as MAME libretto because my initial goal here was only to get the Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 arcade ROMs to work. So I knew that that command would work fine with those. So I left that command in there. You could probably use any other one of these. You could probably use any other command from some other system if you wanted, but I stuck with main libretto because, like I said, I just wanted to initially get the Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 arcade ROMs to work. Next is platform. I left that the same, arcade, and then for theme, I put Mortal Kombat. So let's see here. So for a lot of these new Retropie themes, they come included with all the art for certain collections. Like, for example, I'm using a theme called Super Display, and it comes with all the art for Mortal Kombat collection. It's got art. It's got art for Batman, and it's got a whole bunch of collections. It's got a ton of them. Anyways, but the name of that was Mortal Kombat. So that's why I put that in there. And you can, like I said, you can put this anywhere you want. So put it at the top. That's going to be the first system that loads. Or you can put it anywhere in between any of these other systems if you want it in a particular area. So after you do that, you're just going to save it, and you're going to re-upload it back through your FTP. Let's see. Next, we want to edit emulators config file for main libretto, and that is going to be located in, let's see, configs, OPT, Retropie, configs, and we want to scroll down to main libretto, and we are going to edit emulators config. Alright. So we open that up here. And basically what we're doing here is because, let me go back and show you here, but because we are using, for the initial system we're using MAME, but we have, you know, a bunch of other different systems in here like Super Nintendo and, you know, Genesis. We need to tell MAME libretto that for these any particular SNES or Sega Genesis ROMs, we needed to use a specific emulator. So I needed to add this line. This is the default emulator for Super Nintendo, and I needed to add this line. This is the default emulator for Sega Genesis. And honestly, I forget exactly where I found these commands, but sorry, I forgot where exactly I found these commands, but they were in somewhere. Probably. Let me look here. Let me look up NES emulators. Yeah, that's where I did it. I just went into OPT, Retropie, configs, and then for the specific emulator I needed, so let's say, you know, I needed Sega Genesis, which I call it the Mega Drive, you know, view, edit, and so it tells you right here, default emulator, is IR Pico drive, so I just grabbed this one right here. I grabbed that whole command line, and then I pasted it in here. So that's how you get. So you know, if you need the command for, you know, fucking Game Boy Advanced or, you know, something, that's how you find the command for that. So once you add in all of the default emulators that you're going to be using, you're going to save that file, and you're going to re-upload it. Where were we? We were here. You're going to re-upload it back to here. And next we are going to edit another emulators config file. It is where is it? In configs, all, and it's this one here, emulators config. So we're going to view that one, and basically in this one here you have you got MAME libretro, and you're going to be telling MAME libretro you're going to be telling it the name of the ROM, and you're going to be telling it which emulator to use. So you can edit this file manually, or you can have Retropie do it for you automatically. So this is how you do it. Would do it automatically. Since we edited the MAME libretro emulators config file, we now can go into here. We can select a game, and then you're going to press the A button, and it's going to bring you into the MAME libretro settings, and we're going, let's see, we got Mortal Kombat 3 for the Sega Genesis, so we want to select an emulator for that specific ROM, click OK, and you can see here now that I have a choice to use the Sega Genesis, default Sega Genesis emulator, or you know, Super Nintendo emulator. So these are now available in this settings menu because we edited that other emulators config file. So we're doing Mortal Kombat 3 for the Sega Genesis, so of course we're going to pick the Pico drive, click OK, and you know, you can see it has that that in there now. Alright, so get out of there. We'll go back to this emulator config file, and you can see, so Mortal Kombat 3, by doing it automatically, it would have added this line right here, MAME libretro, name of the game, and Pico drive for the default emulator. So if you want to do it manually, like I did one, and then for the rest I did them all manually because it was just quicker for me to do that, but it has a weird naming scheme. So let's see, Mortal Kombat 3 Genesis, you can see it's Mortal space Kombat space 3 space Genesis, and when it did it automatically, it removed all of the spaces, so no big deal, you just freaking remove all the spaces yourself. I do believe if your ROMs are named, have like weird characters in it and stuff like that, it's going to remove like any weird characters as well. So my suggestion would be to rename all your ROMs to something simple. You know, maybe I should have just you know, you can take out all the spaces yourself when you rename your ROMs. I probably should have just did MK, you know, MK Gen, you know, all one word, MK Gen, you know, MK2 Gen, all one word. That probably would have been easier for me. For the arcade ROMs, for the MAME ROMs, I don't know if renaming them fucks them up or not. I kind of have a feeling that renaming the MAME ROMs might cause a problem. I don't remember, but you probably don't have to rename MAME ROMs anyway, because those are usually simple names. I've never seen them with weird characters in them or anything like that, or spaces or anything. So, anyways, so once you are done, if you want to manually edit this file, once you're done, you're going to save it, re-upload it back to OPT Retropie configs. Oh, and then finally is another file that you can manually edit if you want. It's going to be the games list, so that is located in configs, all, EmulationStation, games list. And so this is going to be the games list for my custom system, Mortal Kombat. So view and edit. Basically what I did in here was you could just scrape it to get all this information generated automatically. You know, for example, everybody already knows how to do this, but you could just freaking, you know, edit this game's metadata, and you could do all this crap from here. You could just select scrape, and you could do it that way. Or I like to edit it, because once you do one, then it's super simple just to freaking put in all the information yourself. So that's what I did, and I just pointed it, you know, to all the images for the ROMs and stuff, and then I just saved it. I rebooted my Retropie, and everything worked. So let's go over it here. So we go in here, let's select a game. We're going to go with Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate for the arcade. This is the arcade version, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Let's start that up. And of course this is going to load no problem, because, you know, it's basically, you know, set up for MAME. So as you can see, loading up here. Everything's good. Loads up. Great. Next, let's try a Super Nintendo. God damn it, I hate when that happens. Let's go back there. Let's try a Super Nintendo game. We'll go to Mortal Kombat 1 for the Super Nintendo. And it's loading up. Program licensed by Nintendo. Yep. Alright, so it's loading up the Nintendo one, no problem. Wonderful. And let's see, let's try Sega Genesis. We'll do Mortal Kombat 2. It's loading up, no problem. So basically, that's it. I mean, that's how you're making your collection, but you're actually making a custom system, but it's a collection. And in that way, you can put it in anywhere you want on this little scroll wheel here. You can have it, you can have it wherever the fuck you want it. You want it fucking next to Nintendo, you can put it there. You want it freaking above ports or in between ports and TurboGrafx, you can do it. Or if you want it to start up like I do, you can do that too. So that's how I managed to rearrange my custom collections. Sorry for the shitty tutorial. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you can figure out what the fuck I was trying to do. If there's a better way to do this, please, by all means, let me know in the comment section below, because I don't know, this just seems like some kind of cop-jobby, half-assed way to do what I want to do, but I mean, it works, so, that's why I'm doing it. It works. But if there's a better way to do it, yeah, totally, let me know. If not, and you find this video useful, and this method works for you too, then leave a like or leave a comment below, whatever. So anyways, that is it, and thanks for watching.